Yeah, I'm good to
go. Okay. Hello and welcome to episode 69 of the Boot Nerds podcast. JayMike, what's up?
What's up, my man? This is the episode I guess a lot of viewers and listeners have been waiting for because of the number 69. Now, we actually, just before we started, talked about if we had any fun jokes or anything, but we kind of don't. So I guess you guys can tell us, make fun of everything in the comment section right down below because we're not fun enough. So yeah. But otherwise, things are good, my man. How are you?
I'm doing good. We got some nice weather now. Got to go in the sun a couple times. Haven't done that in a while. It's good. Can't complain.
Yeah, it's not too bad. And now boots are starting to come out again, like on a solid base. New Adi pack, which is
it's about time.
It's about time, yeah. I should say. But yeah, it's about time. Unisport pack quickly. I mean, everyone's seen it by now, but what do you think?
I really like. For the most part, I'm happy with it. I think that the Preds and the X are definitely the standouts for me. The Copa and the Nemesis, I'm not so crazy about.
What?
I gotta be honest with you.
Copas?
Not really. What? It almost looks like the Copas look more like you had like white boots and you kind of just like walked through a house that was in the process of being painted, and like it just somehow you got splatter everywhere and it just ended up like that. I don't know.
Mate, I love them. I love the Copas.
It's cool, but I really like the Pred. The Pred's my favorite of the pack.
I agree. The Preds are super cool, especially this little effect. I don't know if people can see, but especially this little effect with, the SL rubber spikes actually having like different splashes of paint, like we saw on the Dragon Preds. That was, I thought that's really cool.
Yeah,
and
it's really nice.
White boots are just always super crisp.
Yeah, I mean, in general, they kind of remind me, I think I talked about this before, but there was that one ice cream as a kid that I would always pick that had like the rainbow swirl thing in it. That's kind of what it reminds me of.
Yeah, the Twister ice.
Is that what you got? Yeah, sort of like that.
I mean, in Denmark, we call it something stupid because obviously it's Denmark. In Denmark, it's like basically these colors, yellow and red, and it has a smiley face on, and we call it filur. Oh. So there's that, yeah. I'll put an image of it on screen. It's quite nice. So yeah, it kind of inspired us though, this new Unisport pack to kind of go back in time and look at previous tournament packs, because obviously this was probably it was gonna be the pack for the Euros, but now the Euros aren't happening. Well, it isn't a tournament pack, so we can't really include it on the list, but it inspired us to go back in time and look at some of the best tournament packs we've seen, well, since, I guess, the whole pack tournament thing started back in 2010. I think of course, 2008. There wasn't anything before, was there? I mean, not really.
Not really. Wait, with 2008 was the Euro.
The brown pack.
The brown pack. Yeah, that I want to say is probably the first official tournament pack. Because packs in general, there was always tournament packs going back to 2006, but we never really got colorway packs until pretty recently.
Yeah.
At least they would never associate a name to the colorway pack itself. So it's still a relatively new thing, but with that said, there have been plenty of them, and I think there's some really good ones to choose from. And we're going to highlight some of those in this podcast.
Exactly. I mean, I have a lot of boots ready, but I guess so do you. Should I just run with it and see where it takes us?
Yeah, you start it off and we'll keep going.
Now, obviously, we can start off with the one we just mentioned, the brown pack from 2008, the first when Nike really streamlined their looks and had this almost black but really dark brown leather-like look. None of the boots were actually leather, but they had the leather-like look on top, a very clean white swoosh, and then they had a blue outsole, and it looked really, really cool. Then they also, on the insole, had this outline of Austria and Switzerland. It was actually really cool. I absolutely loved it. And to me, it was just, it did something, because it actually took the whole formula of having something that stood out, and they made it stand out by making it super simple and very, very clean and crisp, and kind of going back to the roots of having just black boots. Really loved it.
Yeah, really weird pack. And just to correct you before people go crazy in the comments, the Vapor looked like it was leather, but it wasn't leather. But
exactly,
the Tiempo and the T90s were leather.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about those.
They were leather. So this is like back to simpler times when there were only 3 models within the Nike brand, because CTR 360 wasn't a thing yet. So for me, what's interesting about this pack is, one, the incorporation of just brown. Like, that's just not a color that you ever see in a football boot. So it was very bold for Nike to launch that as their tournament pack, when you know that a tournament pack and the boots that are being worn during that period, like, there's so many opportunities for like iconic moments to happen in those types of tournaments that you would think they want something that's going to stand out as much as possible. So going for dark brown is a very bold choice, but it did stand out to a certain extent because of this like light kind of icy blue sole that all of these boots had. And in general, I really liked the combo. It's kind of weird. I understand why people wouldn't like it, but it was really cool, and just they all had some interesting detail about them. There was one weird thing about that pack. I don't know if you remember, but the T90, because I was a big fan of the T90 Laser 2 at the time, which was part of this pack.
Still are.
And as soon as I saw pros wearing it, I'm like, oh, I really need to get these. But for whatever reason, the laser version, the top end model of the T90, never released to the public. You could only buy the first takedown model, which was the Strike, if I'm not mistaken.
See, I wasn't that much into lasers back then, so I only went for the Vapors. Actually, I had the Vapor 4s, and I don't think that the Vapor 4 SLs ever released to the public either.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't. Those, the Berries and the Ice SLs never kind of really released, right? Might be more, but I think they're kind of hard to get your hands on. But anyways, I thought those 4 SLs looks absolutely ridiculously good.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, and it was also fun that they actually, instead of making the material in leather, they used this leather finish or leather, top coating on the synthetic, so it kind of felt like leather. Maybe it was the first the thing that gave them the idea for Kangalite, who knows? But it was just make it leather, man. You've had leather materials before, just do it.
Yeah, it had a really premium look about it. I mean, to be fair, like a regular Vapor 4 with that glossy, in certain colors, it almost looked like the upper was laminated, which I don't think is a particularly premium look. So that artificial leather grain, which is something that we would see many more times in the Mercurial Vapor over the years, that was a really cool look. And I think people were disappointed because remember at that time as well with the Vapor 4, I think it was specifically in Nike Town, London, you could actually go in, you'd have to go to the store, and I'm not sure if they were like custom made or they just had them there, but there was a kangaroo leather version of the Vapor 4 that you could get in black with a white swoosh or white with a black swoosh. And it was like one of the, amongst boot nerds that really didn't have much of an online presence at that time, that was like the mythical football boot that everybody wanted, but nobody could get.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a Nike ID option only in Nike Town, London. And I think I missed it by a couple of months. I managed to go to London and I thought, I'd saved up some money. And, I didn't know. So I just went there and was like, yo, I'd like a pair of leather Vapor 4s. And they were like, yeah, you're 2 months late. So that sucked. But it's true. This whole leather finish, the whole, as they call it, the release plate, Danish. So the release paper, so basically that's the top finish, the kind of the hand feel of the coating they put on top of the synthetic itself. That had this leather grain-like feel, and we saw that on the Vapor 8 and 9s that both introduced it. So really, it was a little bit ahead of its time, although it would have been nice to have that proper K-leather material as well. But anyways, beautiful pack. 2 years later, we got another pack that I think to many is one of the most iconic tournament packs ever, the Nike Elite pack. So this almost like little bit purple-ish chrome and orange, and of course with the carbon fiber outsoles. Absolutely stunning looking pack, I'd say. One of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to notice a trend on this list. Nike is very good at tournament packs for the most part. And I think what was cool about this pack, and it's similar to the one we just talked about, the brown and blue ones, every single boot had the same pattern and used the same colors. And I think that there's a risk associated to doing something like that because there's a good possibility that a large chunk of people won't like the color combo or the pattern. And if it's on everything, then they might not just buy the boot from you, period, which is a risk. But I think that the important part about this particular pack is it was so distinctive and so noticeable when watching the matches on TV. And when you had teams that had a lot of Nike endorsed players, Brazil is one that comes to mind. Everybody on the field looked like they were wearing some variation of the exact same boot, which had this very big, like it was a noticeable effect because obviously the kit is something that really is identifiable, but then the boots almost became part of the kit for all of the Nike teams especially. And I don't know, it was a really cool thing to see the entire team seemingly wearing the same boot.
And that's the thing. Yes, it became a part of the team, but it also became like the Nike players were almost on a team of their own. Like you could instantly spot a Nike player, even though you couldn't see the swoosh on their boots just because of that colorway. So they kind of just took over, dominated the entire TV and spectator space because they had such a distinctive looking boot. And I mean, back in the Euros in 08, okay, the boots were black and you could tell that it was the Nike pack if you knew, but it might also be any other regular pair of boots, whereas this really stood out. And this, I think this was the first time they kind of played. No, they had released the Superfly 2s, but they continued with this idea of, being able to spot your teammates out of the corner of your eye so you could identify them more easily. It's just a problem when everyone on the damn pitch is wearing the same boots. But I mean, they didn't think about that. Really beautiful looking pair of boots.
It's also worth mentioning because 2010 was a great year for football boots, I will say. But obviously the Adi brand in 2010 with the original F50 Adizero, that was a huge deal. I think the reason why that boot didn't get as much notoriety during the tournament for the most part is because Adidas made their tournament pack for 2010 black and yellow. So they kind of went along with the simple concept of what Nike did during the previous Euro, and they tried to do something similar. Unfortunately, Nike really went up them with such a unique kind of weird purple, chrome, and orange combination. Two colors that I don't think anybody would put together, but it just worked. And again, it stood out so much from all the other football boots in that tournament.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. And again, yes, Adi tried, but to be fair to them, they got better, but they just needed to get the ball rolling, kind of. They did okay at the Euro 2012, of course. But once again, I would say Nike kind of won that.
Yeah, for sure.
With the Clash pack. Again, now they switched things up a little, which I liked. So they had the concept of having a boot with a white toe box and then a different color blocking on the heel. So the Tiempo had black, the T90 Lasers had a very light green. Obviously, the Mercs had the red, and the CTRs had the blue, the light blue, and it looked absolutely amazing. They had this graphic where we almost had this color powder exploding behind the boots, and it was It's just a really cool concept, and again, just made the boots pop on pitch, separating each silo, but still identifying the Nike players very, very easily. Beautiful. And the Vapors here, stunner of a boot.
Yeah, every boot in this pack, I think, was really clean. The simplicity of this is, I think, what makes it special. And really, if you look at this new Uniforia pack from Adi, that would be kind of the closest comparison in terms of doing a similar style. They've just more or less reversed where the color is, making it at the front rather than the back. But definitely a similar type of style, I would say. But I think just the sheer simplicity of literally, let's just draw a line at some point near the middle of the boot, make the front half white, make the back half a contrast color, and put a black swoosh, call it a day. And again, it just made for something very distinctive looking that just stood out. And I think that's what's so important about what brands try to do with a lot of these new colorways. And it's part of the reason why we see so many bright colors these days, is ultimately they're having all of these pros wear their boots, which they're paying them a lot of money to do. The objective is to make you notice. They want their boots to stand out. And I think that this through much more simple means than what we see with a lot of colorways today, was extremely successful at standing out.
Absolutely agree. And, that's maybe what Nike do really well, is that when they go for something like this, they really follow through and they make it look so holistic. And it's impressive how you can actually have 4 very different looking boots, but because the concept is so tight and streamlined, it's just so easily identifiable when you see a Nike player on the pitch. The funny thing I just noticed is that this is also this is obviously, it's not Kanga-like, but it has this, again, leather-like finish to it, which we saw on the Vapor 8. So it's a funny thing that the Mercurial in 08 was fake leather, synthetic with a leather finish. Of course, the Elite Superflies from 2010 wasn't, but this was. So there's no pattern, I'm just rambling. Anyways, move on.
What do you got next?
What do I have next? Well, we move on to the World Cup in 2014, which was a really good year. Obviously, we can mention the Nike pack there because we got the Superfly, we got the Magistas, and that was really memorable. And they came out in very bold colors. The Hyper Punch Superfly, obviously, and the Volt Magista, and the the Hyper Venom, the Mercurial were both Hyper Punch, and the Magista and the Tempo, more focused on control, they were Volt. So they kind of split it into 2, and that, I reckon it was okay, but not mind-blowingly good. However, 2 other brands did really, really well, I thought. And let's start with Puma and the Tricks Pack, which kind of, If you're a boot nerd and you know your boot history, the whole concept behind the Tricks boots, it wasn't new, because back in, I think it was 98, Rigobert's song actually wore the red and the yellow Puma King, and kind of introduced the world to having wearing odd boots or boots in odd colors. But I don't think everyone knew, because it really shook the world when these came out, and even mainstream media talked about it, and in a World Cup year that was so strong as 2014 was, sock boots, 2 of them actually, very bright colors, and then another pack from Adidas that we're going to talk about in a bit. And these still managed to really, really stand out on the pitch because the colors were really eye-popping, and also the concept is just crazy. That to me was actually quite impressive what Puma did there.
Yeah, I think people really enjoyed the mismatched concept. I can't remember, was there ever a mismatched colorway released to the public prior to this one? Because I'm having a hard time. I know that Nike kind of tried the mismatch concept with the 3rd color, CR7 colorway. Remember those gray ones with the pinstripes? And it had the thicker pinstripe on the one side, the thinner pinstripe on the other side. So they kind of looked mismatched depending on which direction you were looking at them from. But to actually have 2, literally pink and literally blue on your left and right foot, it's just so immediately noticeable. So this is one of those concepts, again, where you don't even have to be into football boots to immediately recognize that these are very different from the boots that everybody else is wearing. So, and it's also one of those kind of colorways that makes you have an opinion. You either love that or you hate that. And I'll be honest, personally, while I think it's cool as a concept,
don't say you hate them.
I wouldn't like to wear boots like that. I don't like the whole mismatch thing. It's not my thing. It's weird. It's one of those things that I feel like it would bother me every time I look at my feet.
I'm not a big fan of the colors individually, but I think the concept as a whole is just it looks flipping amazing. And the big, really big clean Puma caddy, it's cool, man. I don't think the Evo Power 1 as a football boot looks that sexy, but this execution was really, really dope, I thought. Put that on a better looking boot and you have a winner. But I mean, I don't recall any other boot, having odd colors that was released before this, actually released to the public and not just mixed by players themselves, because they have done that before. Obviously, you could do it with the Tunics. I mean, Cisse did it before he broke his legs. But I mean, I don't think when you buy the pair that you get it like that. But maybe some of the nerds out there can help us if there were any boots that were released with odd colors. Anyways, also in 2014, we got the Battle Pack from Adidas.
Which, man, this one for me is really underrated because I thought these were super cool. Like, I know that people were so wrapped up in the whole mid-cut Flyknit Nike boot thing, but to me, this pack, it's cool. It's got a cool name. It's got a cool look. I think what they did for the Messi variation was also really interesting.
It was.
And again, I think that this, for me, almost had the magic of that 2010 Nike World Cup pack where you had teams with a lot of Adidas players where they all seem to have some similar variation of a football boot. I don't know. I really like that. Black and white is always a nice combo. They didn't go too crazy with the contrast color of the orange. It's cool. It looks mean. That's the best way I can put it.
Now, mate, this is amazing, honestly, in my opinion. The way they made just a little bit like the Clash pack, but more subtle. So instead of using different colors, they use different patterns of the, basically the black, the pattern of the boot. So imagining that the boots were, or the silos were different tribes that would have different war paint on in different patterns. I thought that was amazing because they looked similar and you could see that they were related, but they weren't the same patterns. And I thought that was really, really cool. And they instantly stood out amongst all the, the Hyper Punch and Volt and Tricks boots. You could still tell all the Adidas players apart just like that. And then, of course, there was the King Lionel Messi with his bespoke bespoke colorway that also had the blue pattern going down the middle, which we actually never got to sell at Unisport. It annoyed me a lot because I really wanted that. I thought it looked amazing. And, of course, we also shouldn't forget the birthday boots that they did for him. Whew. Do you remember those?
Were those the black and gold ones?
No, those were for James.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but they made up another pair that had the blue pattern that he had in the middle that was spread out all over the boot in the different Samba colors from 2014.
Oh yes,
and
I do remember those.
I think they made 20-something pairs, and of course he got most of them, and they were absolutely ridiculously cool.
Yeah, that was a cool. Now
to this day, I still haven't seen one in real life. So Addy, if you have any lying around out there, we'll take a look and we'll talk about them. Well, just send them over. You know the address. But no, really, really strong pack this. And having said that, this is one of those boots that just keeps eluding me. I like it. I want a pair of this to rock. F50 2014 90 in the Battle Pack colorway. I mean, that's the dream, right?
I know a lot of people like the 2014 F50, and maybe this is a controversial opinion, but I think that's a top contender for one of the best colorways of that boot. And I think a lot of people probably wouldn't pick that.
Probably
because
not.
They did. It's also worth noting as well that while the Battle Pack had that particular pattern, it's something that they would continue on after the World Cup in different colorway variations.
Yep.
But for me, the original black and white.
Nah, I agree.
It's just good.
Absolutely. I thought you were going to say that you didn't like the 2014 F50 Adizero.
No,
friendship
I'm not
over.
You could have kicked me off the podcast if I said that.
Okay. Then we move on to, should we say 2016?
No, actually, we have one more for 2014. It's kind of an individual boot, not part of a colorway pack.
Of course, yeah.
But Neymar, Nike really went hard on. I think they were really hoping Neymar was going to win this World Cup. Let's put it that way. So Neymar got these ones, which I'm sure a lot of you guys remember, which had which name?
Sonia Durado.
There you go. It says it on the insole. I wasn't going to attempt to pronounce that. But it's basically telling the story of Neymar as a child apparently spray painting his boots gold. So, in honor of that, being the poster boy for the Hypervenom Phantom 1, which goes down in history as, I think, one of Nike's greatest all-time hits as far as football boots go. They gave him this chrome gold with neon yellow accent football boots that he wore through the entire group stage of the tournament. And then when it came to the knock, he wore them the whole time.
No. So he wore the Hyper Punch Hypervenom, like the red one with the Volt swoosh.
Yeah.
He wore those. in the group stage. And then when the knockout stage came, he wore those, the Sonja Dorados. So he wore them in the first match against, I don't remember who, that they knocked out, and then they played Colombia, and he got injured because he took that knock in the back, and, you know, it was like that. And then he was injured for the Germany humiliation.
Yeah. Then when did the silver ones come in? Was that after?
The liquid chromes, that came after Sonja Dorado. That was the first Neymar specific hype event they made. The liquid chromes came, I think, in the spring of 2015.
Man, why did I think those were a World Cup boot at some point? There's so many. It's been so many colorways over the years. I'm just like completely. I've lost track of timelines at this point.
Yeah.
Either way, these are super memorable.
Yeah.
From the World Cup, because they were just so unique. And in terms of standing out, I mean, you can't really stand out more than making your boots chrome gold.
No. And I mean, it was just a fun story, you know, Neymar wanting to be the best, become the best player in the world, win the World Cup, win the gold, and then, you know, spray painting his boots. Great story. Such a shame he didn't get to actually wear them anymore. But I mean, would he have made a difference against Germany? No. And now they have an excuse. I know. It's yeah. I know it's like when you get comments from Brazilians, I think it's on par with the big humiliation. What do they call it? Maracanaza from like the 50s, where they lost at home to Uruguay in the World Cup. It's like that. I think that it was actually the reason they changed their kit colors, because it was such a national humiliation that they thought, okay, we need a completely fresh start. Ditched the white kits, and then they made this. A competition to design the new Brazil kit, and there was this guy who actually lived right across the border in Argentina who designed the yellow, blue, and white kit that we know today. So that was a little bit of history for you right there.
Huh. I didn't know that story.
We're also the kit nerds, by the way.
Just on the topic of kits, because I've been seeing a lot of this on the internet and on Instagram. Can we stop calling concept kits unveilings? Because I keep seeing these things where people are like, we're unveiling this concept kit that doesn't exist. You can't unveil a not real product. Can I just say that? I just wanted to put that out there, because then I get messages asking, where can I buy this? And is it actually real? Like, you can't make up products and then pretend to unveil them. You can show your design concept, but it's not an unveiling. Just saying.
The internet is a fabulous place, but, you know, sometimes it also does my head in, to be honest. I mean, I don't know how many times I've been thinking that exact thing that you just mentioned there. You know, stop calling it that. I mean, yeah, some people click it, and I know it's kind of just clickbait. Oh, they unveil this new kit and people see it. It looks, but no, come on. Like, yes, there are gullible people out there, but A, don't be that guy. B, don't trick us now. Just stop it. Be cool, yeah. Just
another note in regards to Instagram specifically. I'm sure most people watching this podcast and have made it to this point, they understand this. But when you post on Instagram, there is a picture, but there's always something that's written underneath the picture that can potentially give you some information and context that you're looking for in regards to the question that you're about to ask me in DMs. So just read that caption below the picture and you might get the answer to your question.
Yeah, I know. Just going completely off track here. So one of my colleagues and friends, PVG, so he does a lot of freestyle videos, and in these freestyle videos, he often has like some pretty dope tracks, and he always puts the track ID in the description, relatively high up, so everyone can see it. And you know, without fail, every single time he posts a video, people just come in and ask for the track ID. It's like, and it's doing his head in, but. It is what
the best.
As I said, the internet is a wonderful place. as also seen, you know, if people follow you, and they should, if nothing but just for the memes, you know, those memes going around I enjoyed.
I've been very impressed with people and the boot memes over the last month. It's just somebody sent me one, and then it sparked me to make a couple, and then people really liked it. So I'm like, hey, you know what? If you guys want to make some, send them to me, and I'll start posting them. And honestly, the results, they've been amazing. There's been some really funny stuff.
And the amount of fun you can actually have poking fun at the same thing, i.e. ACC or, ankle protection from the dynamic color. It's just like the creativity is off the charts. I love it. Flipping love it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm very happy with how the situation has gone.
But back on track here, Josh. So being done with 2014, we can kind of move on to 2016, where Adi actually, I think they kind of, hit it out the park again. To be honest, I was expecting, coming off of 3 very strong tournament years, I was expecting Nike to really kill it, but it was just it was weird. Like there was no overall strategy of Volt Hypervenom, of Black and Red and Volt Superfly 5. You had that teal Legend 5, and I don't even remember what the Magista was.
Oh, geez. It was this the ACC pack? No. 2016. Superfly 5. The Magista was... You're right. Well, I think it just goes to show how not memorable it was.
Yeah, that's just exactly. However, Adi did something very clever. They probably looked to Nike, saw 2 packs and thought, you know what? Let's take the concept from the Elite pack from 10 and combine it with a success of the Clash pack from 12. And they took the chrome, they took some sparkly colors, and they mixed up the colors for each silo, and they got this. Bam. And bam, and there was also a chrome and blue Nemesis, which I didn't bother digging out. So I can find. Okay, I can find it.
It wasn't. It was the messy boot. It wasn't a Nemesis.
It's same, right? Same. Get off my back, yeah.
I'm just letting you know. Just letting the people know.
Yeah. Messi 16 pluses. I get it. Okay.
Yeah, but anyways, this chrome pack was interesting because I think Nike really popularized the chrome boots back in 2002 with the Mercurial Vapor 2. People are going to be mad at me for not knowing this. When was the Chrome Vapor? 2002?
Chrome Limes? Yeah, that was 2002.
Okay, I was right. So people aren't going to get mad at me. But Nike, I think that has to be the first chrome boot, no? Has to be.
Yeah, must be. Let me just, well, if we say chrome, yeah. The Mercurial R9s were also kind of chrome, but more silver, right?
Sure.
They technically also had the match mercs in I don't know if it was chrome because it wasn't shiny, it was more like a matte silver, but I would argue you can call it chrome. But so the match mercs,
I think when you think chrome boots, that's the first one that you think of.
It's the one that's really sparkly, right? Shiny.
Yeah, and I think it was memorable in a lot of ways, and it was kind of maybe a little bit surprising that from that point forward, we never really got too many chrome boots. We kind of had that dark gray, almost chrome Vapor 3 with like the dark red on the heel, but that wasn't really chrome.
No.
Vapor 4 didn't have anything, and Nike really kind of just avoided the whole chrome thing until maybe 2010 with that off purple chrome effect, but it's not really chrome. So
now, I wouldn't call it chrome. The next real chrome boot they did was that 15th anniversary Vapor 9, which was absolutely mind-blowingly awesome. Where we gave away a pair, actually. Deservedly so to the biggest and best Nike collector out there, the Professor, aka Joma 14.
That was MVXV.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and then you guys got that special pair with the chrome bottom as well.
That was it. And the upper was actually proper chrome. You could see yourself in that.
Yeah,
whereas
you're right.
Whereas the one that released in 1998 pairs came in like this matte chrome finish that was more like it's like hazy chrome.
Yeah, it had like almost like a brushed chrome look to it.
Exactly. I have a pair of those. They're not really that exciting compared to the 15 only pairs. Proper Vapor 9 chromes. Like those, the grails. Proper
That's
grails.
Cool. Yeah. Anyways, my point being that chrome boots, almost every single one that we've had over the history of football boots has been extremely memorable. So it was kind of surprising that it took all the way to 2016 until somebody would really do chrome boots properly again. And it turned out to be a very successful venture for the Adi brand.
I mean, this was amazing looking, wasn't it? Especially then they put the flags of the individual players' countries on the back stripe, the heel tap stripe. That was pretty cool. And again, it just stood out, It gave this unified look that I thought, especially with the Nike boots being all over the place and Puma once again going with a different version of their tricks, right? Am I right? I think I'm right. Yeah,
you're probably right.
I think I'm right.
You're probably right.
I hope I'm right. Anyways, these really stood out, and they of course, they came with the laceless Pure Controls, which was strong enough in itself, but then they just had this unified look. They rolled out, there was the Pure Agility and there was the Pure Chaos, and of course this. So it was just a really, really, really strong lineup that I enjoyed quite a lot. You can say what you want about the boots, but looks-wise and how memorable they were, I think Adi were onto a winner here.
Yeah. Wait, so 2016, that was Spark Brilliance for Nike?
Yeah, Spark Brilliance, yeah. That was all over the place, man.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I mean, I think these are all individually decent colorways, but you got to consider as well.
Legend? Made.
No, the Legend's not good. I don't like the Legend. That was the first colorway for the Mercurial, so that was launched. People were excited about that. I never really cared for that colorway, to be honest with you. I'm just not a big fan. Hypervenom, this was the first refresh upper.
That was the Tequila Sunrise Magista.
Yeah, I think people like that Magista. That's probably the best colorway of that pack.
So this is basically the combination of the Nike Euro pack from 2016 and the Clash pack. There you have it. It's sorted.
Yeah. Thus proving the internet's theory that all the brands have run out of ideas.
You heard it here first, officially, for the first time ever on the Bootnerds podcast. Now, honestly, man, that pack was all over the place. I don't like that as a tournament pack. Nah.
No, I really think the best, as we showed here today, I think the best tournament packs are when all of the boots across the entire brand relate to each other in some way.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I agree. I also want to bring up the Just Do It pack from the last World Cup. Nike, obviously.
Yeah, really. You know what? I was a little bit surprised by that pack because I think it's as nice as it is. It's maybe too simple, and I don't think that realistically stood out. The defining characteristic was the custom country flag on the heel for all the pros. But that was cool. For the most part.
The chromey, what's it called? There's a specific English word for the electroplated tooling. That's the name. The chrome colored tooling that was different on all the boots. I thought that was really cool. And it was just refreshing to have something that went entirely against the norm of having really sparkly, very bright colors. And then Nike just kept it super simple. I thought that was really nice. But then, of course, you had the Mercurials. And I think we all remember as the tournament progressed and players came in wearing their sparkly white Mercurials, it ended up looking something like, well, I'll show you.
Really. Yeah, so the white boots turned into slightly kind of off-white brownish boots, which was not an ideal situation. I'm sure JayMike has a lovely example. Exactly. Just awesome.
So yeah, that didn't really work out for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good colorway pack, but for me, that's a colorway pack from a major tournament that doesn't really stand out as being super memorable to me. That's when we talked about doing this concept for a podcast episode. That's not one that popped in my head.
I agree with you. I actually also just saw it on the shelf and thought, you know what, that was a pretty cool concept. But yeah, it definitely shouldn't be mentioned on the same level as all the others. Did we miss any?
I'm just thinking pre-tournament pack boots. And the R9 Brazil Vapor 3 is one that comes to mind. I love that boot.
Wicked,
so cool looking. I really like the idea of matching boots to the kit that well. Really nice. Also, Japan Blue Predator Mania. I have the remake right here. That's really cool. Another one that I just thought of was the Nike ID Nigeria Superfly 6. That was cool.
But that was mainly cool because of the shirt, right?
But the boots were cool too. You didn't think the boots were cool?
Nah. I didn't fancy them, to be honest.
And I think that...
We can also mention the, what was it called? The New Balance pack for the World Cup. What was it called?
It had a weird name. Oh, Obtruska?
Etruska?
No.
Etruska? Was it?
Obtruska, something like that. The white and red. But that's just white and red.
Yeah.
It kind of just blended in with what Nike was doing.
That's actually true. Yeah, those Furons also had like a red electroplated tooling, and it didn't work.
Oh, there's also another one because people always talk about this like it's a C. Like whenever I've done videos on like the first CR7 colorway officially, people always argue that this is the first one, and it's the pine green Vapor 4. Which he wore during the Euro.
He was the only one, I was going to mention that, but forgot. He was the only one to wear something that wasn't black and white during the Euros in 2008. The pine greens.
So that he wore that colorway almost exclusively, but it wasn't an official CR7 color.
It was exclusively, yeah, that was for him.
Was it? Did Nani not wear a pair of those? Why do I remember him wearing a pair of those?
Let's just see. Nani, I can't
2006 Euro.
Why 2006 with the World Cup in Germany? 2008, you mean?
2000.
He wore the...
Yeah, but Vapor 4.
Yeah, that was in 08, not 6.
Oh, man. I'm so bad at years.
Years and pack names in general, that's like...
Years and pack names. Maybe he wore red ones. Oh, no, you're right. He's wearing brown ones.
Was he at the
here.
Euros in 08?
I want to say he was. No, he's definitely wearing brown ones. You're right.
Yeah, he was at the Euros. Well, number 19, good man. That's the second official JayMike number. Just got to put it out there.
The second official? What's the first official one?
14.
14.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
you know what I really remember about these pine green Mercurials?
Uh-huh.
And I think it was in this boot. Remember when that little clip came out of Ronaldo receiving a pass and then just like spinning around?
No?
He was like pivoting on one foot and he just like spun the ball around and then like just let it go somewhere else.
No?
You don't remember that clip? I don't remember. I saw it on the internet or something like that. This was like a time in my life when I was very much into this was like early days of YouTube, when I'd go on YouTube and just look up like highlight reels of like Cristiano Ronaldo and Ronaldinho. And it was just this little clip of him in training receiving a pass and just like spinning around. I don't know. I'm sure somebody watching this remembers that. But I think that's it for tournament boot shout outs.
Exactly. Pretty good list, to be fair. I liked it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good stuff here for sure. So,
speaking of good stuff, I have a lot of good questions, and we have a little bit of time left. So let's just jump right in. Before we do that, remember that if you also have some questions that you'd like us, aka the Boot Nerds, to answer, you should leave them in the comment section right down below, and we'll get back to you on the best ones. Also, if you haven't done so already and you like the stuff so far, leave us a thumbs up on the video. It's going to make us mighty happy. But Josh, the questions. Let's start with Beatrice Morgles. Why are kids' football boots different from men's?
I want to say we've answered this one at some point in time, but it was probably a long time ago. Maybe. But a few different reasons for this. And I think we both have pretty good knowledge of like how football boots are put together and why certain decisions are made. But the number one reason is going to be cost, right? The cost has to be lower than what the men's version is going to be. And it typically has to be significantly lower because parents aren't willing to dish out $275 for a youth version of a Superfly or whatever boot it may be. So there's that. But I don't think that the actual cost of materials and putting the boots together is that significant in terms of the final price. The main reason why I would say they're different is scale. A lot of these football boots are designed, if it's a 6 or a 6.5 US as the smallest size, those materials and the stiffness and the design can only be shrunken down so small until it gets to the point where the materials have to be completely changed or the design has to be modified in order for the boot to flex in the right spots and fit properly. That's why the youth variations typically have a different shape about them as well, right? You can only make a boot so big or so small until things need to be changed. And that's really, I think, one of the main reasons why they are different.
I don't have anything to add to that. That was a really good answer. So they have a Beatrice Morales, as she's called, not Morgles.
Not to mention like length of studs. Like imagine the current, like the FG studs on a Mercurial now. If you put that on a youth boot, it would be like...
And kids who take it to, take it to AG pitches and, screw up their knees for the rest of it. Nah, that's not on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. We also have Noah Frieden. Is it only me who gets stressed every video because Josh always changes his name? I'm sorry, that's me. I have a lot of fun in the editing, just finding out a new name for Josh every time. So I'm running out of J names though. So hit me up with some fun Josh names in the comments right down below.
Please leave your suggestions down below in the comments.
Yeah. So let's stress out Noah more. I'm sorry, Noah, but it's good. It's good fun. Pete Rodriguez Jr., imagine a carbon fiber plate on a Vapor 13 Elite and then 3 fire emojis because it's so cool. I thought, oh yeah, carbon fiber, I love it. Give me more carbon fiber. But then I thought about it and I don't want it. What about you?
Yeah, man, you know what? Like, as cool as the carbon fiber thing is visually, I think there's like, for me, there was always stress associated with buying and owning boots like that because it was almost a guarantee that these carbon fiber plates would crack. Like it just happened a lot. I don't think carbon fiber has ever been executed properly. The glass fiber, the silver stuff on the Vapor 8 was far more durable and just honestly way better than, I would argue, the cooler looking OG carbon fiber plates from Nike.
Yeah.
So yeah, the glass fiber stuff, I'd like to see that back. I think it'd be cool. But at this point, I think plastics technology has advanced so much to where it's not only cheaper for the brands, which is going to be a motivating factor, it's probably lighter as well.
Exactly. And, those nylon plates that we have, the main reason you wanted carbon fiber was because of the lightness and, the snapback, the rigidity of the plates. You got that extra little boost, at least the mental sensation of it when you pushed off. But with the nylon plates these days being so responsive as well, I don't think I'm really missing carbon or glass fiber plates. So it would probably look hella cool.
About this. Yeah, no, I did a retro review of the 2010 F50. And that to me is really the boot that killed carbon fiber in football boots.
Yeah.
Because they simply proved that they could make a football boot out of plastic that was significantly lighter and significantly cheaper than what Nike was doing. Because you got to remember, Nike Superfly 2 for 2010 World Cup, $400 retail price, and really not that lightweight, especially by today's standards. Where the Adi comes out with the 2010 F50, it literally retails for exactly half at $200, and it's like almost half the weight of the Superfly. Like it was such a huge difference between the two. It's a great, that F50 is a great example of how Nike was maybe pushing the whole technology angle to a point where people were fascinated and the boots were definitely interesting, but they weren't necessarily making better products because of the new technologies.
Not at all. And I think, but also, fair play to the F50 Adis here, because that was one of the boots that really changed football boot, the landscape. It was one of the big landmark boots that we'll always talk about on the same level as the Merc R9s and the sock boots, the Magista and the Superfly. I think it was one of the big ones, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the most influential boot of the last decade for sure. Because you got to think as well, like people talk about speed boots now, and speed boots now aren't even as light as what speed boots were back in 2010, at least the OG F50s. But then you also have to consider how much lighter boots across the board have gotten because of that OG F50, right?
And
like you look at a Predator 20 Plus. Yeah, but a Predator 20 Plus, think about this for a second. Not a speed boot. Nobody looks at that as being a lightweight option.
20 grams. It's insane.
Lighter than a Superfly 2.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah. Crazy.
Anyways, we also have a question from Ada Catalan. what is the worst sole plate for firm ground?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I thought about it. Let me just get it. They're not gonna like it, but it's a shit.
I'm genuinely curious what your answer is, because I'm trying to think myself. You know what? I got to be honest. I don't think that there's that many boots that are like terrible anymore. There used to be a lot more. What do you got? Yeah, that's because it's labeled as an FG boot, but it's far more of an HG boot. The studs are just too short.
They're so short, and they're so there's no grip at all.
Yeah, it's a weird thing that Umbro's doing with that. I'm not exactly sure what the angle is. And for those that are listening, he's got a pair of Umbro Velocita 4s, which they have that sole plate on the Medusa series as well. Maybe all their boots have that sole plate now.
Yeah, I don't know if the Velocita 5s have them, but I mean...
I'm not sure. It's a very lightweight outsole. It relates back to that 2010 F50 in a lot of ways. But yeah, the studs are about half the length of what you think they would be for a firm ground stud pattern. So yeah, if the ground is firm or even slightly trending towards soft, there's just not enough stud there to provide. Look, I don't want to say that there's no traction, but it's not ideal.
It's no. Probably this is I wouldn't go on FG with these. Just being transparent. Anyway, Jay should have waited until Josh got his Dragon boots first, then do his podcast so they both can review it. And the reason I brought this up was just to mention, I don't know if you guys saw the review we did on the Dragon Threads. Have you seen it, Josh?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, so I don't know if people notice, but basically every time I mention the Dragon boots, we've basically dubbed it, and I've recorded it on a different microphone, and it sounds absolutely ridiculous. So the story goes is that Adidas actually had a different name for the Dragon boots before. Then we shot the video, the boots were postponed, and then when they finally dropped it, the name was wrong, and I mentioned it like 8 times in the video. So we were like, what are we gonna do? So we decided just to have a little bit of fun, and it sounds absolutely.
It was. Now I really remember. That was great because it's always. I always find it really funny because you guys do such high production value on the videos. Like I don't think people understand how much time goes into like a 6-minute Unisport video. Like there's like a lot of recording time. Like the one time I went down to visit you guys, and even in Japan when we did some videos, like it's like a 4-minute video, and we're there for like 5 hours. It's actually, from my perspective, it's sometimes a little bit frustrating because I'm like, these guys are insane. Like, we don't need to do the same shot 47 times. It's not necessary.
Oh, trust me, we do. Especially when we're working with me and I have to get it right, then it can be a lot of takes, man.
It's great. Yeah. Anyways, I love seeing this like super high production value, and then this just insert of the word Dragon every 30 seconds in the video is great. It was awesome.
Let me just put it that way. We had a lot of fun making it. So yeah, it's nice that people picked up on it too. One last question here from Jilly Reaper. Why don't the pros wear kind of unpopular but very good products, as said by you guys, like the C6 Agility, shin guards, or the Falcon grip socks? And there's a very simple answer to that question in my head, at least, and that is money.
Yes, there's a money side of it, and there's also I'm just a pro footballer and I don't really care side of it.
Yeah.
Because while there are players that have sock endorsements, very few of them I'll add, and have shin guard endorsements, it's not a super common thing. I think with sock companies, what you have to realize is that there's not a lot of like companies that are dedicated to making socks that have enough money to pay somebody like, I don't want to say Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi, but a really big name footballer to wear their socks. That's a tremendous amount of money on an endorsement deal for something that realistically you don't really see unless they're training, right? Because now all the rules basically ban, so you can't really have any distinctive design on your socks that everyone else doesn't have.
True.
And then shin guards, again, it's one of those things that, yeah, maybe the player's shin guards fall out and you get your 3 seconds of TV time when he puts them back in. But for the most part, it's not a worthwhile investment for a shin guard company that's relatively small.
Yeah.
And again, I think the boot nerd community maybe gets really wrapped up in like this is cool, this is new, this is the best. Where I think a lot of pro footballers are like, hey, I'm just going to wear the same shin guards that are in my locker that the equipment guy puts there, and that's it.
And it's the same with socks. And that's just, and some people wear, custom carbon fiber shin guards, but I think they mostly care about them being custom and not carbon. So.
Oh, on the topic of socks, by the way, I don't know if you saw that post I made of Messi in training.
I was going to mention it where people...
Oh my... Jay, no joke. I got 50 messages, at least, sending me this image, asking me, why is Messi wearing Nike boots and what are those? When are they coming out? Like people sent it to me really thinking that they found some gold.
Again, my man, I love the internet. It's a glorious place, but also sometimes you get a bit tired. You just want to turn off your phone and go to sleep.
The funny part of that picture too, and I didn't even notice it until somebody pointed it out, but if you look at the full image, he's sitting on a ball with these socks, and you can see there's a Nike swoosh on the top. Then there's a couple of agility poles like stuck in the ground. So those are in focus, and then blurred behind them are literally his normal boots that are just sat on the ground. So his boots are in the picture of this supposed leak of him wearing these unreleased Nike boots. Just really funny. I quite enjoyed that post.
I didn't notice. I'm just checking it now.
Yeah, you can actually see his boots on the ground in front of him. It's just out of focus beyond the agility poles. It's great. So you gotta love the internet. You can't be mad at them.
Anyway, I love the internet. With that said, it's a good thing that our listeners and all you guys out there, you know, if you listen to the Boot Nerds podcast, and we appreciate you guys. So as always, thank you for listening in. Thank you for asking good, solid questions that we can actually answer without wanting to just lay down and die. We really appreciate that, guys. And thanks for sticking with us for now 69 episodes. So if you have any fun memes or anything related to that, go nuts in the comment section. So there's that. But I think it's time to wrap up the episode before we get sidetracked too much. Of course, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section right down below. If you want to go see what Josh is up to on a regular, either driving his car or talking about the latest football boots, go subscribe to his channels right over there. You can also see what we do at Unisport, reviewing all the latest and greatest stuff. Click the green bubble close to my face. And of course, if you haven't done so already, go subscribe to the best podcast on the interwebs by clicking the white bubble in the middle of the screen. And with that said, I've been JayMike and I approve this message. Ciao.